What's up everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm glad you're here today. Since the last time you guys saw my Corvette, it wasn't the last video where I was trying to diagnose and see what the noise that it was making was coming from. It was a really bad noise and I could totally hear it wasn't anything exterior, it wasn't a harmonic balancer, it wasn't a serpentine belt. Besides the noise that it was making, it was driving perfectly. I did notice that there was a little bit of metal shavings in the oil, so that was very concerning. I started doing some research and I came to the conclusion that these engines are really prone to lifter failure. So I think a lifter problem is going to be my problem as well, since it's really common with these engines at this specific mileage that it has right now. What we have to do now is we have to start tearing apart the top end of the vehicle. I want to inspect the whole vehicle, make sure I didn't miss anything that could possibly be making the noise. But it is very likely that it's going to be a lifter problem. As you can see, we have the Corvette in the operation room. So I'll walk you guys through everything that I'm doing. I'll record as best as I can, show you guys the process. It's time to start working on it. The coolant is draining. We're probably going to make a mess. So it's going to be really fun to clean up. Okay, so one thing that I'm noticing that is still very concerning is that I drained the oil before moving the car over here, and I put all fresh new oil, and also I put these magnetic drain plugs, and I noticed that there's still a good amount of metal debris flowing through the engine. I hope this was the last of it. This is a little bit concerning because that means that all these metal particles were just like floating around the whole engine, and that's the last thing you want in an engine because it can totally destroy bearings. Damn, Mo, you thick. And that's not even the rear tire. First step is to remove the air cleaner, all the injectors, the coils. This time it's actually going to be really difficult to remember where everything goes. So many connectors that I have to remove, and I've never done this before either, so this is definitely going to be a challenge. These white tabs that you see right here holding the vacuum lines, they look really weird and I've never seen them before, but the way to remove them is you got to push from the bottom down, and as you can see it lifts up and you can pull it out. Oops. So we got another beautiful day, but I start working on the car. I'm gonna drink NOS, full throttle, and a Rhino, and we're gonna get this thing done. So let's get to work. I'll be careful with this one. Okay, so now I'm gonna attempt to do a very dangerous stunt. I'm gonna attempt to remove the radiator without evacuating the AC system. It's gonna be a little bit of a challenge, but I don't think I'm gonna have a problem taking it off. Alright, so that was a freaking lie. It took a lot more time than I was expecting, and a lot more time than I'm proud to admit. At the end, I ended up breaking the radiator. Pro tip, do not attempt to remove the radiator without the condenser. You're gonna waste so much time, and you could just break your radiator like I did. Just go somewhere, have the refrigerant flushed out of the system, and then remove the radiator and the condenser together. Do not try to save yourself money. It's not worth the time. I'm telling you, it's not worth your time. At least we got it out of the way. That's one thing. We got it out of the way, so progress. Now I'm actually gonna get to removing all the belt-driven components, and I'm also gonna try to start removing the power steering rack, which was our initial goal that we didn't get to, but I'm sure we're gonna get to it today, right? We're not gonna have any other difficulties. The bolts don't come all the way out, so I'm trying to figure out a way to remove the actual power steering pump and bracket without pressing out the pulley. Oh yeah. Let it rain.
Bro, you always miss with the thing, bro.
That's the forbidden power rate right there. So it turns out you don't actually have to press out the pump. It's gonna take a long ass time, but it will come out without pressing this pump. There it goes. This one's out of the way. I think this shit was leaking too. You look at it? It's looking more naked by the day. Starter is out. Alright, so far I've been working on this car anytime I get the chance, so that's every time I got a day off. I feel like I'm gonna have a hard time remembering where everything goes. Trying to come back to working on this car after like a few days of being off, you don't feel like working on the car. It's making this take longer because I'm procrastinating. Okay, so like I was saying, after I take care of this tie rods, I can finally remove the steering rack and move on to the next step, which is removing the harmonic balancer. There we go. Simple as that. So the trick I ended up using is I took everything off that was holding in the steering rack, and I just slid it carefully and started twisting it all the way over here. Not taking it all the way off, but just to give me enough clearance to actually access the pulley. And as you can see, I made a mess, but I'm gonna have to clean everything up really good. But now we're on to the next step. Well, I just ran out of threads and the pulley still didn't come off, so that's exciting. I don't think it's moving at all. I think it worked. I think it worked. I had to go and get a different harmonic puller. This one was still not long enough. What I ended up doing is I put an adapter at the end, and as you can see, it is stuck in it right now, but it ended up working. Alright, so now it's time to begin removing the head. We'll see if we can spot any damage on the lifters. Oh, I hear it coming. Oh. My first cylinder head's taken off. Smells good. Now let's move on to the next one. Okay. This was the main problem, like I suspected. Lifter that spun out or a bad roller bearing. There's a lot of wear on this roller right here. So if you peek right there, you can also see wear on the camshaft, and that's where all the metal shavings are coming from. Look at how bad this roller is.
So this is the cause of the shavings?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. I didn't know that.
This roller is a little bit stiff, but I don't see any abnormal wear. If I pull all of them and they're all looking pretty decent, we don't have to rebuild the engine, which is what we want.
And you said this side was the bad side as you expected, huh?
Yeah, this is the one that I was expecting the noise to be coming from. This one's pretty messed up as well.
Pretty banged up.
I see a little bit of wear right here. I think that's just from the bucket being worn out. This is where the lifter meets the bucket right here. So since this is worn out, you can see that it's been moving around and causing a little bit of friction right here. This bucket right here is a little bit more solid because you can actually pull the lifter and it stays in the bucket. So this is the oil pump that's in the vehicle. It is a lot bigger than the regular ones, and that's because this vehicle has the dry sump oil system. The pump is a lot bigger, and this camshaft sprocket is not going to come out without removing the oil pump. You also can't see the timing marks because this thing's so huge, so it's going to have to come out. So it's going to be like another day of work right there. Okay, so now we're finally going to remove the oil pump. So now you see it. What the hell? Okay, so update. This is what it came down to. Had to grab the engine hoist and lift up the engine a little bit so I can actually lower the oil pan a little bit, enough to get the oil pump out. So that's what I'm gonna end up doing now, and we might be able to get to the cams finally. For once, I'm done playing baby games. This time it has to come out. There we go. And the teeth are looking good. Cam plate is off. Oops, that wasn't supposed to happen. Alright, let's be careful now. I am seeing a little bit of wear on the cam journals. Oh, this is harder than I thought it would be. Gotta figure out the right technique to pull it, lift it, and spin it at the same time. Gotta take a break. A lot of the people on YouTube, they just edit the paint out of the videos, but I'm not gonna be doing that. I'm gonna keep everything in just so you can see how much of a pain in the ass it is to work on this car. I had a little bit of trouble taking this cam bearing out, but I ended up lubricating a little bit, and that definitely helped to get this thing free. So I think it should be ready to come out now. And I got the cam out. This is the point that I wanted to get to. Show you guys the cam. Here you can see the lobe where the lifter took a shit. It's on this one and also on the one right here. Okay, so I want to take this time to give you guys a visual explanation of how the components fell inside of my engine, just so you guys can get a better idea of what I'm talking about when I say that the lifter spun out. Let's head over here and I'll explain a little bit more in depth. Alright, so this is the camshaft. I'll show you guys the wear that it has on 3 of the lobes. You can also see it has scoring marks and scratches on the actual journals. And that's why it was so hard to remove the camshaft, because the bearings are so scored up and scratched that it kind of seized up. It was binding. Alright, so this is the lifter bucket. It doesn't have any moving components. It doesn't really do much. It just holds the lifter in place. The bucket is supposed to hold it and not have any slack. This one has way too much slack. When they get worn out, the lifter moves a little bit too much. It actually allows the lifter to move side to side, and the lifter is not designed to move side to side. It's supposed to spin up and down. It's not supposed to do anything else. So the edges are really sharp, and when the lifter goes to a different angle that it's not supposed to go, it actually grinds away on the cam. And when you have two metal surfaces grinding against each other, it creates a lot of metal debris, which flows through your engine and destroys all your other bearings. Okay, so a little update. I just looked at the bearings inside of the engine, and they look pretty messed up. So right now it's the end game. Let's see, has a little bit of scoring right here. It's mostly visual, but there's a little spot right here that it does catch my nail on it. The rest of the bearings look almost the same as this one, but some of them, they're not as severe as this front one. This is the one that has the most damage. It's gonna be up to me whether I want to pull this engine and rebuild it, or just send it and throw the cam in it. So that's what it comes down to. So never mind everything that I said that it was good. It's not looking so good on the actual journals. As of me, I would just send it, but I know a lot of people are gonna tell me not to do it, so I'm gonna try to get a different opinion first. That's what happens. Okay, so I spoke with a few engine builders, and they all recommended for me to remove the engine from the vehicle and take it to a machine shop to have the engine professionally rebuilt, replacing all the bearings that were damaged. So it's just better to play it safe. I definitely don't want to risk putting all the new parts that I have acquired, have them still get destroyed, and having to do this whole job all over again, which is something that I never want to do again, and I hope that nobody has to do. So yeah, definitely stay tuned, because there's going to be a lot more videos to this build. That is it for today. Nothing but intense pain and suffering while working on this car right here behind me. There's a saying that goes like this: if it looks nice, it's going to be a bitch to work on. Compressions 921. That was just a warm-up. There's still a lot more work to be done, and it only gets better from here.